Hello everybody, it's Tarun. Welcome to your first tutorial in the CSS course. In this tutorial, I'll tell you all about this course, what we'll cover, and who should take this. Okay. So first of all, I want to tell you that all the persons who have somewhat knowledge of HTML, okay, somewhat basic knowledge of HTML, should do this course. You should not do this course if you do not know any HTML. Okay, because if you do this course without knowing any HTML, then you will not understand a bit of it. And I'll suggest that you do the course of HTML, which has been provided by me on this very site only. Okay, so what is CSS? Let's first talk about that. CSS is cascading style sheets, and it is a style sheet language used for describing the look and formatting of a document which is written in a markup language. While most often used to style web pages and interfaces written in HTML or XHTML, the language can be applied to any kind of XML documents, and it can include plain XML, SVG and XUL documents also. CSS is a specification of the web, and almost all web pages use CSS style sheets to describe their presentation. Okay, the CSS initially came into the existence on December 17, 1996, which is 17 years from now. Okay, and the CSS is designed primarily to enable the separation of document content from document presentation, and it includes elements such as layout, colors and fonts. This separation can improve content accessibility, provide more flexibility and control in the specification of presentation characteristics, and it can enable multiple pages to share formatting and reduce complexity and repetition in the structured content. Okay, CSS can allow the same markup page to be presented in different styles for different rendering methods, such as on-screen, in-print, by voice, etc. And it can also be used to allow the web page to display differently depending on the screen size or device on which it is being viewed. While the author of a document typically links that document to a CSS file, readers can use a different style sheet, perhaps one of their own computer, to override the one the author has specified. However, if the author or the reader did not link the document to a specific style sheet, the default style sheet of the browser will be applied. CSS specifies a priority scheme to determine which style rules apply if more than one rule matches against a particular element. And in this so-called cascade, priorities or weights are calculated and assigned to rules. The CSS specifications are maintained by the World Wide Web Consortium, which is W3C, and Internet Media Type, which is MIME type, which is text/CSS, is registered for use with CSS only. Okay, so this was all about the introduction of CSS. Now I'll tell you the course structure which we'll follow in this course. So this is our course name, CSS for presentation. Now I'll tell you the course structure of the parts in which I have divided this course. The course is being divided into 8 units. Okay, so these are the 8 units. The first one is CSS orientation. In this unit, I'll tell you the benefits of CSS, how style sheets work, some big concepts, and we'll move forward with CSS. In the second unit, which is formatting text, I'll tell you the font properties, changing text color, selected types, text line adjustments, underlines and other decorations, changing capitalization, spaced out, and changing list bullets and numbers. And in the next unit, which is colors and backgrounds, I'll tell you how to specify color values, foreground color, background color. We'll play with opacity there, and I'll introduce you to pseudo class selectors and pseudo element selectors, attribute selectors, background images, the shorthand background property, and like a rainbow gradients, and finally external style sheets. Okay, and in the next unit, which is thinking inside the box, I'll tell you about the element box, specifying the box dimensions, padding, borders, margins, and adding drop shadows to boxes, etc. Okay, in the next unit, which is floating and positioning, I'll tell you normal flow, floating, positioning basics, relative positioning, absolute positioning, fixed positioning. And in the next unit, which is page layout with CSS, I'll tell you page layout strategies, page layout techniques, multi-column layouts, position layouts, and top to bottom column backgrounds. In the second last unit, which is transitions, transforms, and animation, I'll tell you CSS transitions, CSS transforms, keyframe animation, and something more about animation. And in the last unit, which is CSS techniques, I'll tell you image replacement techniques, CSS sprites, styling forms, styling tables, basic responsive web design, and we'll wrap up the style sheets there. So if you are willing to use CSS in your web designing, then you do not need anything other than a web browser. And as I told in my HTML tutorial series, I'll also suggest here that you should use Notepad++ as your text editor. So I'll just tell you how to download it from the internet. So go ahead, open any web browser, okay, and in the web browser go to Google, okay, and in the Google search type Notepad++. Okay, so you can see that the first link is the authentic Notepad++ organization link. So click on download here. Okay, and the latest version is 6.6.7. So go ahead and download it. I'll suggest that you download installer because it will install directly and you need not extract it or something. So go ahead and click this link, and it will give you the setup and you can download it and install. The installation is quite easy, and you need not change any settings while installing it. Just follow the steps accordingly and your Notepad++ will be installed. Okay, after installing, this is how the Notepad++ looks like. So this was all from my side in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll start with first unit, CSS orientation. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.